All right, really quick video on link styling. So, you might have noticed that browsers have default styles that they apply to elements. So even if we don't have a style sheet attached to our page, paragraphs are going to look a certain way, headings are going to be bold, things like that. Okay, by default, links have this style. We never see links that are this color blue, and then once you've clicked on them, they turn that purple color. Okay, we never really see that on the web, so we're almost always going to want to restyle our links. So let's look at how we're going to do that. Let's make ignore this, this just puts this paragraph in the middle so we can see it a little easier. So let's say we're going to select our A's, and we can just change the color, and let's see what black looks like. All right. When we're thinking about links, the main thing that we're thinking about is I want it to be obvious to people that they can click this, and I want it to stand out, okay? So for me, this doesn't look enough like a link when it's black, okay? I want it to stand out a little bit more. So, one really basic thing that you can do is just pick whatever kind of, generally when we have a design, we have a color that we're using to highlight things. I'm going to pick like a dark teal so it stands off the white. Let's say something like that. All right, so one really quick fix is we've got that. Not a bad default, okay? This is dark enough that I can read it. I might go a little bit darker, but I'm not going to be picky right now. It's got an underline. Underline tends to say link to people. That's okay. Now, if you want to get fancier, let's say that I don't like that underline. That underline is what's called text decoration, and I can change text decoration to none. Depending on what you think, this may or may not be obviously a link enough, but I can also replace it with a border. So let's say I want to get a little bit fancy. I want to do 1 pixel dotted on the border. Okay, that's looking like a link to me. You've also got dashed. You can play with all of these examples, but that's pretty obviously a link to me. I like that. Let's do some other stuff. Okay, so links are interesting because a lot of times they change when we hover over them, right? So if I just style that doesn't do much, but I can style hover, okay? And this hover says the A when the mouse is over it. So let's say that when we hover over it, I'll set the color back to black, okay? So, I changed it in both places. That's glitch. All right. When we hover, color will be black. All right, so that's not bad. Hover state is really up to you. It's just to make, a lot of times we use it when we have a background color on something. I'll look at that in a second just for fun. But hover state is less important than making it look obviously like a link to begin with. Other states, so this is called a state, the hover state. Links also have an active state. And I'm gonna just set this to red really quick. Okay, the active state is not used super often, but it's when the mouse is actually clicked down, like pressed on the link. Okay, so if I press down, that active state kicks in. And again, it's not going to be used that often. Visited is the other state. So you know that by default, you'll see links go purple if you've been to that site. A lot of times we don't use a visited state. You really want to think about the context. So if it's something like Wikipedia, that might matter because might want to know like, okay, have I been to that page before? But if you're just making a personal website and you have like an about page, a lot of times that's not information that the user needs to know. So don't complicate things. All right, so let's keep on this and we'll look at background color really quickly. So a lot of times this is used for a menu. We'll look at menus in another video, but we can also use it here. So let's say I'm going to set a background color and I'll make it this teal that I had. And then I'm going to need to make the color white. Okay, so you can do something like this to kind of have that highlight effect. If I do that, I'm going to want to add a little bit of padding. Okay, so remember background color is going to expand it to the padding. And so I'm going to say maybe I want 3 pixels on the top and 5 pixels on the sides. That's looking a little bit better to me. And now when we do something like this, generally what we'll do is, just bring this back over to glitch so we don't lose it. Generally what we'll do is then just change the background color on hover, and that makes a nice indication to someone that they can click on it. So I'll just do a dark gray for now, and so we get something like this. Okay, so it makes it really obvious that you're over a link. Okay, so that's links. Main thing is make sure people know they can click on them, and then pay attention to those different states, especially the hover state.